That's all right. I got a couple questions for you because I've heard some things that I hadn't heard before. One, a point of clarification. You said earlier in 2006 and prior, 10% of the population suffered some type of symptoms, but your testimony is everybody's affected, even those who are not symptomatic, or is it just a subcategory of the population that you think is affected?
First of all, I'm sure the doctors will agree. We are electric beings, we all affected. So what we see, there was this, with the surveys that were done in terms of how many people are affected, you see a constant increase in the rate of people who are affected. So clearly there's a correlation between how much we are exposed to this to how many people develop this condition. I was using this technology, I was not sick always from it. At one point, I couldn't tolerate it anymore. And you can see, so it's everyone's affected. Some will get electrosensitivity. I did not get cancer. I got electrosensitivity from this. Everyone has their own predisposition, and they'll have different effects. The issue is there are numerous effects that can happen. For example, there are 200 studies that show that this radiation can cause whether this radiation could cause oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is a mechanism that leads to cancer, non-cancer conditions, and DNA damage. Now,
so in your case, your years of service with the Israeli Defense Force, you worked closely with the technology, it had no effect, but at some point in your life it had a cumulative effect after which exposure has caused negative consequences.
Sometimes you have cumulative, sometimes it's a one event. There are different ways. We are not completely sure, but there's definitely a cumulative effect here, absolutely.
Here's the biggest thing I heard today from Senator Colbeck and then from you. The concept of hardwiring the technology. And of course I want to hear from the wireless industry as to whether or not that actually performs the same function for autonomous vehicles, for example. You know, will hardwiring a system be able to power autonomous vehicles? I don't know the answer to that question.
I'll answer, yeah. So when it comes to autonomous vehicles, basically every claim they made in terms of 5G is not correct. They told you that it's rural areas. It's not rural areas. They told you that it will that it's basically going to reduce our download speeds from 8 seconds to 4 seconds, for example. Yes, it will. But is reducing our download speeds from 8 seconds to 4 seconds can actually pay for $200 billion infrastructure per year. And by the way, I put a memory stick in the package you get, and a lot of the stuff I mentioned is referred to there. And there's an article there by Bloomberg saying why this infrastructure is not going towards it. Another thing that is there, essentially, what is really 5G about? It's not about autonomous car, and we put a letter by engineer Bill Baskett. Engineer Bill Baskett is working for Fiat Chrysler. He is working on the telecommunication systems of autonomous cars. And he wrote you a letter explaining you that 5G is not necessary for autonomous cars. The reason they're telling you is that because you're in the state of Michigan and they know that this is important for you, so they tell you that this is essential. That's what they say. In rural states, they tell them it's for rural areas, while it's not. For cars, industry states like Michigan, they tell you that this is the reason, but no, they're already autonomous cars in the state of Michigan, and they do not work on 5G. So this is a false claim. 5G is about data. The wireless industry got to saturation for making money from connecting people. 1G to 4G are about connecting people. There are no more business because almost everyone has a cell phone. So they need to find ways to make money. And the way to make money is data. Data is the new oil. Why do they need those antennas everywhere? Because they're going to put, and there already are, antennas almost in every device and appliance in our house. They even have antennas in our baby diapers, send a message to the mother when the baby poops. So they're collecting that data, and that is a lot of data. For that, they need bigger bandwidth and a lot more antennas to transfer that data and sell it. And in the documents I provided you, there's a McKinsey report. McKinsey is one of the world's leading consultancy firms in the world. And they have a report that this data selling is an industry of between $4 to $11 trillion a year for the wireless industry. That is what 5G is about. Selling our data, taking our data and sell it. That's why you need so many antennas in front of almost every home. So back to your question, autonomous cars, they need wireless technologies. They do not need 5G. A lot of them work on satellites and other technologies. But when it's come to autonomous cars, this is also another area where we need to start and work on safer technology. It's time we find safer solutions for wireless. For example, Wi-Fi. That is one more tolerable technology, and probably, is it completely safe? I don't know. Is it safer? Yes. But that is where we should put our investment, in developing safer technologies. And that is a whole beautiful way to make our economy grow. And the thing is, I think if we inform our public, for example, what the NTP study said and showed, and the public know how this is harmful, the public will reduce its usage of this technology, and the public will demand that safer technologies will be developed. And I've been, I came to Michigan, I was supposed to give 5 lectures when I came here. I ended up giving 20 lectures, because with every lecture, people got so convinced and wanted to educate their communities. And once they educated, so many people understand what's causing the sickness. And a lot of people started doing changes in their lifestyle, and they're calling me and telling me and thanking me. So if we would tell the public the truth, and the wireless industry made sure in the past 30 years to lie to the public, if we tell them the truth and inform the public, and the public has a right to be informed, then you'll see that there'll be a much growing demand for it. And if